Hi, welcome to Street Priest Ministries. I'm your host, Brother Jays. We're taking the Gospels back to the streets. Today's drive-through message is the deceitfulness of sin, the story of Samson. I've covered Samson before, Samson and Delilah. You can get the video. Check it out. Like I said, many of these characters have different facets I want to cover. And today I want to cover the deceitfulness of sin. And I'm going to use Samson as a kaleidoscope for the message. Alright, so we're going to go to Judges 13. So turn your Bible to Judges 13. We're going to do a little cherry picking today, not much. Just want to drive this point home. Okay, Judges 13. So we'll start reading here. And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord delivered them into the hands of the Philistines for 40 years. And now, for those that aren't Bible students, to give you a quick rundown of what's taking place, God had promised to bring them to the land of milk and honey, to what is known as Israel, the land of Israel, Palestine. And they began, thanks to, get that teaching to it, a video on Balaam the wizard. I'll get that video. But thanks to him, he led them into idol worship. And it plagued them the whole time they were in the land, until God finally vomited them out the land, threw them out. He had enough. But until then, he would periodically use their enemies to bring them into bondage temporarily and then raise up a deliverer. And normally it was a period of 40 years, so that's what we're reading here. And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord delivered them into the hands of the Philistines for 40 years. And there was a certain man of Zorah, the family of Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren and bare not. Now, how many times have we seen this story in the Bible, the barren woman? I mean, that goes back to Abraham and Sarah. All the way to the New Testament with John the Baptist, his parents. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto the woman and said unto her, Behold now, thou art barren, and bearest not, but thou shalt conceive and bear a son. Now therefore beware, I pray thee, and drink not wine nor strong drink, and eat not any unclean thing. For lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come upon his head. An angel is telling her everything to do. I just told on angels too. Get that teaching. I told on Michael the archangel, but I have very different videos, various videos on angels. But thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come upon his head. For the child shall be a Nazarite unto God from the womb, and he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. Then the woman came and told her husband, saying, A man of God came unto me, and his countenance was like the countenance of an angel of God, very terrible. But I asked him not whence he was. I didn't ask him where he was from. Neither told he me his name. She just suspected it was a man of God, but she wasn't sure. Could have been an angel. But he said unto me, Behold, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no drink, nor wine, nor strong drink, neither eat any unclean thing, for the child shall be a Nazarite to God from his womb to the day of his death. Then Manoah entreated the Lord and said, O my Lord, let the man of God which thou didst send come again unto us, and teach us what we shall do unto the child that shall be born. And God hearkened to the voice of Manoah, and the angel of God came again unto the woman as she sat in the field. But Manoah, her husband, was not with her. God only letting the woman see The angel, not him. And the woman made haste and ran and showed her husband, and said unto him, Behold, the man hath appeared unto me that came unto me the other day. And Manoah arose and went after his wife, and came to the man, and said unto him, Art thou the man that spakest unto the woman? And he said, I am. And Manoah said, Let thy words come to pass. How shall we order the child, and how shall we do unto him? And the angel of the Lord said unto Manoah, Of all that I said unto woman, let her beware. She may not eat anything that cometh of the vine, neither let her drink wine or strong drink, nor eat any unclean thing. All that I commanded her, let her observe. He said, I already told her what to do. And Manoah said unto the angel of the Lord, I pray thee, let us detain thee until we shall have made ready a kid for thee. Sacrifice. And the angel of the Lord said unto Manoah, Though thou detain me, I will not eat. I will not eat bread, and if thou wilt offer a burnt offering, thou must offer it unto the Lord. For Manoah knew that he was an angel of the Lord. And Manoah said unto the angel of the Lord, What is thy name? When thou sayest thou come to pass, we may do thee honor. Yeah, he's getting caught up in the angels. And the angels reminded him, I'm just a messenger of God. And Manoah said unto the angel of the Lord, What is thy name? That thy saying may come to pass when we do honor. And the angel of the Lord said unto him, Why askest thou my name, seeing it is a secret? What do you want to know my name for? So Manoah took a kid with a meat offering and offered it upon a rock unto the Lord, and the angel did wondrously. And Manoah and his wife looked on. For it came to pass, when the flame went up toward heaven from off the altar, that the angel of the Lord ascended in the flame of the altar. And Manoah said to his wife, Look on it, and fell on their faces to the ground. He burnt the offering up and then jumped in the flame and went up into heaven as the flame rose. But the angel of the Lord did no more appear unto Manoah and his wife. Then Manoah knew that he was an angel of the Lord. And Manoah said unto his wife, We shall surely die, for we have seen God. But his wife said unto him, If the Lord were pleased to kill us, he would not have received a burnt offering. Offering, keep that in mind. Every time they encounter God in this Bible, it's always an offering. Just thought I'd throw that in there. It's a footnote. But his wife said unto him, If the Lord were pleased to kill us, he would not have received a burnt offering and a meat offering at our hands. Neither would he have showed us all these things, nor would he at the time have told us such things as these. And the woman bare a son and called his name Samson. And the child grew, and the Lord blessed him. And the Spirit of the Lord began to move upon him at times in the camp of Dan, between Zorah and Ashtaroth. And Samson went down to Timnah and saw a woman in Timnah of the daughters of the Philistines. And he came up and told his father and mother, and said, I have seen a woman in Timnah of the daughter of the Philistines. Now therefore get her for me to wife. Then his father and his mother said unto him, Is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren, of whom all thy people? So we got a whole, it's 12 tribes of Israel. You can't pick a woman of 12 tribes. Why you gotta? God had forbid them to marry outside their race. But you'll see here that God's in control, and he put this on his heart, that thou should take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines. And Samson said unto his father, Get her for me. He's kind of spoiled, for she pleaseth me well. But his father and his mother knew not that it was of the Lord that he sought an occasion against the Philistines, for at that time the Philistines had dominion over the Israel. See, God created him a desire for Philistine women. He liked what he liked. That was the tribe he chose. This guy wanted to kill him. Then went Samson down and his father and his mother to Timoth, and came to the vineyards of Timoth, and behold, a young lion roared against him. And the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and he rent, as he would have rent a kid, a baby goat. And he had nothing in his hand. He ripped the lion apart with his bare hands. But he told not his father or his mother what he had done. And he went down and talked with the woman, and she pleased Samson well. And after a time he returned to take her, and he turned it aside to see the carcass of the lion. And behold, there was a swarm of bees and honey in the carcass of the lion. And he took thereof in his hands and went on eating, and came to his father and mother, and he gave them, and they did eat. But he told them not what he had taken the honey out of the carcass of the lion. So his father went down unto the woman, and Samson made there a feast, for so used the young men to do. And it came to pass, when they saw him, that they brought 30 companions to be with him. And Samson said unto them, I will now put forth a riddle unto you, if you can certainly declare it me with the 7 days of the feast, within 7 days of the feast, and find out, then I will give you 30 sheets and 30 change of garments. But if you cannot declare to me, then shall you give me 30 sheets and 30 change of garments. And he said unto him, put forth thy riddle, that we may hear it. And he said unto him, out of the eater came forth meat, and out of the strong came forth sweetness. And they could not in 3 days expound the riddle. Talking about the lion. And it came to pass on the 7th day that they said unto Samson's wife, entice thy husband, that he may declare unto us the riddle, lest we burn thee in thy father's house with fire. Have he called us to take what we have? He said, we want to win this wager. We're going to kill your family if you don't tell us the secret. Is it not so? And Samson's wife wept before him and said, thou dost hate me, and lovest me not. Thou hast put forth a riddle unto the children of my people, and hast not told it me. And he said unto her, behold, I have not told it to my father nor my mother, and shall I tell it to thee? He said, I didn't even tell them, my parents. And she wept before him. Now I want you to pick up something, that's why we're reading it. And she wept before him the 7 days while their feast lasted. So she cried the whole 7 days of the feast. Excuse me. And it came to pass on the 7th day that he told her, because she lay sore upon him. This was a precursor right here. She laid sore upon him. She vexed his soul, wore him down with her begging, crying, and pleading. Wore the man out. This was his Achilles heel. And I want to point this out. That's why it's titled this message. It has to do with sin. Because he lay sore upon him, and she told the riddle to the children of her people. So she went and told them. And the men of the city said unto him on the 7th day before the sun went down, what is sweeter than honey, and what is stronger than a lion? And he said unto them, if ye had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have found out my riddle. He called her a heifer. Yeah, that's funny. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he went down to Ashkelon and slew 30 men of them, and took their spoil, and gave change of garments unto them which expounded the riddle. And his anger was kindled, and he went up to his father's house. But Samson's wife was given to his companion, which he had used as his friend. But it came to pass within a while, after in the time of wheat harvest, that Samson visited his wife with the kid, and said, I will go in unto my wife into the chamber, but her father would not suffer him to go in. And her father said, I verily thought that thou hast utterly hated her. Therefore I gave her to thy companion. I gave her to your friend. I gave your wife away, which is his daughter, to your friend. Is not her younger sister fairer than she? Take her. She's more prettier than her. Take her. I pray thee instead of her. And Samson said concerning them, Now shall I be more blameless than the Philistines, though I do them a displeasure. And Samson went and caught 300 foxes, and took firebrands, and turned tail to tail. So he made this ring of fox tails, and put a firebrand in the midst between the tails. So he set the tails of the foxes on fire. And when he had set the brands on fire, he let them go into the standing corn of the Philistines, and burn up both the shocks and also the standing corn with the vineyards and the olives. Destroyed all their crops with these tails of fire running through the fields of the foxes that he lit up. Then the Philistines said, Who hath done this? And they answered, Samson, the son-in-law of Timnath, because he hath taken his wife and given her to his companion. And the Philistines came up and burnt her and her father with fire. He was pretty ruthless in those days. So they burnt up his ex-wife and the father. And Samson said unto them, Though ye have done this, yet will I be avenged of you, and after that I will cease. And he smote them hip and thigh with a great slaughter. Now this is God's one-man army here. And he smote them hip and thigh with a great slaughter. And he went down and dwelt in the top of the rock of Edom. Then the Philistines went up and pitched in Judah, and spread themselves in Lehi. And the men of Judah said, Why are ye come up against us? And they answered, To bind Samson are we come up, and to do to him as he has done to us. Then 3,000 men of Judah went to the top of the rock of Edom, and said unto Samson, Knowest thou not that the Philistines are rulers over us? He said, Don't you know they're the boss? What is this that thou hast done unto us? And he said unto them, As they did unto me, so I have done unto them. And they said unto him, We are come down to bind thee, that we may deliver thee into the hand of the Philistines. And Samson said unto them, Swear unto me that ye will not fall upon me yourselves. And they spake unto him, saying, No, we will bind thee fast, and deliver thee into their hand, but surely we will not kill thee. And they bound him with 2 new cords, and brought him up from the rock. And when he came into Lehi, the Philistines shouted against him, and the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and the cords that were upon his arms became as flax, and they was burnt with burnt with fire. They were weak; the cords couldn't hold it. And his hands loosed off, and the bands loosed off his hands, and he found a new jawbone of an ass, and put forth his hand, and took it, and slew 1,000 men therewith. Killed 1,000 men with the jawbone of an ass. And Samson said, With the jawbone of an ass, heaps up on heaps. With the jawbone of an ass, I have slain 1,000 men. Picture that scene. And it came to pass, when he had made an end of speaking, that he cast away the jawbone out of his hand, and called that place Ramath Lehi. And he was sore athirst. He was very thirsty. and called on the Lord and said, Thou hast given this great deliverance unto the hand of thy servant. And now shall I die of thirst and fall into the hand of the uncircumcised? But God clave in a hollow place that was in a jaw, and there came water thereout. And when he had drunk, his spirit came again, and he revived. Wherefore he called the name thereof En-Kechor, which is in Lehi until this day. And he judged Israel in the days of the Philistines 20 years. Then went Samson to Gaza, and saw there an harlot, and went in unto her, a prostitute. He slept with a prostitute, for all you fundamentalists out there watching. And it was told the Gazites, saying, Samson is come hither, and there compassed him in, and laid wait for him all night in the gate of the city, and were quiet all night, saying, In the morning, when it is day, we shall kill him. And Samson lay till midnight, and arose at midnight, and took the doors of the gate of the city. Took away the city gates, and the two posts, and went away with them, bar and all, and put them up on his shoulders, and carried them up to the top of the hill. So he carried this weight uphill. This is thousands of pounds that he's carrying up a hill. You have seen a giant gate to a city that's got to weigh a ton or so at least. And Samson, and took the doors of the gate of the city and the two posts, and went away with them, bar and all, and put them up on his shoulders, and carried them up onto the top of the hill that is before Hebron. And it came to pass afterward that he loved a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. And the lords of the Philistines came up unto her, and said unto her, Entice him, and see wherein his great strength lieth, and by what means we may prevail against him, that we may bind him to afflict him. Find out where his weakness is. They went to Delilah, his woman. Find his weakness. Prevail against him, that we may bind him to afflict him. And we will give thee, every one of us, 1,100 pieces of silver. That was a lot then, and it sounds like a lot now. And Delilah said unto Samson, Tell me, I pray thee. She's going to work. She's already hired. Excuse me. And Delilah said unto Samson, Tell me, I pray thee, wherein thy great strength lieth, and wherewith thou mightest be bound to afflict thee. Now remember, the reason I footnoted is, remember his first wife. He was married before to a Philistine woman. And how that Philistine woman wore him down to give up the secret of the riddle to the Philistines. It's the same pattern. Now, I'm going somewhere with this. That's why I'm reading this. I want you to pick up on patterns. That's a footnote for you. Patterns. Remember that. And Delilah said unto Samson, Tell me, I pray thee, wherein thy great strength lieth, and wherewith thou mightest be bound to afflict thee. And Samson said unto her, If thou bind me with 7 green whips that were never dried, then I shall be weak, and be as another man. Then the lords of the Philistines brought up to her 7 green whips, which had not been dried, and she bound him with them. Now he's playing with fire. She's vexing his soul. This is sin at work. Remember the title of this. The Deceitfulness of Sin. The story of Samson. Show you how sin is at work. She's slowly getting to the mark, which where the secret of his strength lies. But notice the steps. And he's enticing sin. He's allowing sin to enter in through this woman. This woman is the tempter, like Satan. And Samson said unto her, if thou would bind me with okay, I read that. Now there were men lying in wait, abiding with her in the chamber. And she said unto him, the Philistines be up on thee. And Samson, and he brake the whips as a thread of tow is broken when it touches the fire. So his strength was not known. And Delilah said unto Samson, behold, thou hast mocked me. She's not giving up. Just like the first wife didn't give up. She wore him down. First wife, 7 days she cried during the feast, the party. And Delilah said unto Samson, behold, thou hast mocked me and told me lies. Now tell me, I pray thee, wherewith thou mightest be bound. And he said unto her, if thou bind me fast with new ropes that never were occupied, then I shall be weak, and be as another man. And Delilah therefore took new ropes and bound him therewith, and said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And there were liars in wait abiding in a chamber. And he brake them from his arms like a thread. And Delilah said unto Samson, hitherto thou hast mocked me, and told me lies. Tell me wherewith thou mightest be bound. And he said unto her, if thou weavest the 7 locks of my head, he's getting closer and closer to the truth. Now remember, the angel told him no razors to come up on his head. So if you shave his head, he loses his power, his superhuman power. He's getting closer to the truth. She's wearing him down. She's vexing his spirit. And he said unto her, if thou weavest the 7 locks of my head with the web, and she bound it with the pin, and said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awakened out of his sleep, and went away with the pin of the beam and with the web. And she said unto him, how canst thou say, I love thee, when thine heart is not with me? See how she turned it around? When thine heart is not with me, thou hast mocked me these 3 times. 3 is the number of divine manifestation. And hast not told me wherewith thy great strength lie. And it came to pass, when she pressed him daily with her words, she vexed his soul, and urged him so that his soul was vexed unto death. He had no more resistance left. He couldn't lie anymore. She already got close to the truth. His hair, she was just an inch away. That he told her all his heart, and said unto her, there have not been come up a razor upon my head, for I have been a Nazarite unto God. I have been a Nazarite unto God from my mother's womb. If I had be shaven, then my strength will go from me, and I shall become weak, and be like any other man. And when Delilah saw, now this is the key, and when Delilah saw that he had told her all his heart, she felt in her spirit, she hit the mark. She got the truth out of it. She said, this is it. He's telling me the truth. She sent and called all the lords of the Philistines, saying, come up this once, for he has showed me all his heart. Then the lords of the Philistines came up unto her, and brought money in their hand. And she made him sleep upon her knees. And she made him sleep upon her knees. And she called for a man. And she called for a man. And she caused him to shave off the 7 locks of his head. And she began to afflict him. And his strength went from him. And she said, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awoke out of his sleep. And he awoke out of his sleep and said, I will go out as other times before and shake myself. And he wist not that the Lord had departed from him. The Lord had departed from him. The spirit was gone. They gave him his supernatural strength, because he had broke the commandment of the Lord, and the Lord was no longer with him. But the Philistines took him and put out his eyes. They gorged out his eyes. See how the world do you? Now this is symbolic of what the world does to you. When you forsake the Lord and you turn your back on his commandments and the old man sin enter in, the old nature take over, he became blind. Get my teaching on the blind. I taught on that already. The blind, parable of the seesaw. Get that video. And in that video I talked about the people that went back, that could see and went back to blindness, turned their back on the Lord. That's what happens. You become blind again. Go back into the world. For the Philistines took him and put out his eyes and brought him down to Gaza and bound him with fetters of brass. And he did grind in the prison house, became a slave to sin all over again. Philistines, like the Egyptians in this story, represent slavery to sin. Like God had delivered them out of Pharaoh's bondage. Represents the world and bondage to sin, flesh, and the devil. And through God's supernatural power, he had delivered them. Just like Samson. The Spirit of the Lord departed. He went back. He was just like any ordinary man. He no longer had the supernatural Spirit of God dwelling in him. He no longer had that power, the dunamis, dynamite of God's Spirit. And they enslaved him and put him had him grinding meal, chained with brass fetters. Howbeit, the hair of his head began to grow again after he was shaven. Then the lords of the Philistines gathered themselves together for offer a great sacrifice unto Dagon. Dagon's a pagan fish god with a fish head demon. And to rejoice, for they said, our God hath delivered Samson, our enemy, into our hand. They gave